Good morning, sports bettors. It is Matt Modi here with OddsJam, aka Jedi Modi, as you can find me on the social medias. Here to give you some NBA player prop best bets for today. So, not specific to these player props, but OddsJam continues to be successful for me using OddsJam, using the positive expected value betting tool to place profitable bets for the week. As soon as this loads, you can see that I am up about 900 bucks on the week. This is just from Monday and Tuesday of betting because the week starts on Monday. So recording this obviously Wednesday morning, January 11th. The week has been incredible to start. Now that happened last week when I was up 735 bucks. I was up over a grand at one point last week, had a little bit of a slower end to the week. So let's hope we can keep this week up and in the green. But regardless, incredible amount of success using OddsJam, putting my total profit over 20 grand, almost 21 grand using OddsJam. So you see some bad weeks in there. You see some down days, some down weeks. I think I've had 3 down months since I've been an OddsJam user. The variance part of that happens, especially with player props, which I love betting, but you're betting on an individual as opposed to a team. So the variance is even higher on these player props, still profitable. I think last year I was up 69, that's very nice, units betting specifically on player props in the year 2022. So it is profitable, but you can see some downswings, and then there are some upswings as well, and you will stay in the green. The whole basis of positive expected value betting and why it's so profitable is because you're placing bets that have a mathematical edge over the sports book. We're using data, we're using math to place these bets. We're not using trends or feel or matchups, because all that stuff is baked into the markets themselves. The sportsbooks know the matchup, they know the trends, they bake that into the odds. So instead of trying to basically model better than the sportsbooks, what OddsJam does and how the positive expected value page works is essentially uses the sportsbooks against each other. Is the best way for me to describe it. So let me explain that. So the example we see, the play, I should say, is Brook Lopez over 21.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is at minus 105 odds at BetMGM. I know that this is the positive expected value play because it's bolded and it has the blue outline around it. So wherever you see this on the positive EV page is the bet that you are placing. So that's the bet. But what you see on the screen here is just odds pulled from every major sportsbook, ranging from, DraftKings to Caesars to BetMGM to the sharp books like BetOnline and Pinnacle. So what we see here is a wide range of odds from minus 105 to minus 131 to minus 138. Now, with a gap that wide between these odds, between the sportsbooks, one of them has to be incorrect, right? Going from minus 105 to minus 138, that's a 33-cent difference between the odds for the same exact play. They both can't accurately reflect the market. It would be like if two stock exchanges had Apple stock at 300, one of them had them at 200 bucks a share. Both of those numbers can't accurately reflect what the true price of the Apple stock should be. It's the same thing with sports betting. And with that knowledge in mind, that one sportsbook is going to be incorrect when odds differ this much, there are some sportsbooks that are sharper than others, that are smarter, better, more accurate than others at pricing odds. So that's kind of the basis of everything, is the understanding that not every sportsbook is created equal. Some are better than others at pricing odds. So what OddsJam did was backtest thousands and thousands of betting opportunities to use data to determine what sportsbooks are the sharpest, right? Not yesterday, not just, I heard this book was sharp, so we're going to use them. No, it's letting the markets of previous betting opportunities tell you these are the sharp sports books. That is what these no big odds, which I haven't mentioned yet, are pulled from, the sharpest sports books in the world. So this number here, we see minus 107.83. This can be viewed as the true line, the perfect line of what a market should truly be priced at. And anywhere in which we can get more favorable odds, and when I say more favorable, I mean to the sports bettor, which means higher payout, more money. That's an edge. That's a mathematically profitable play. The best sports books in the world are saying this should be priced at minus 108, essentially. We are getting it at minus 105. That's an edge. Small gap, 3-cent gap between the two numbers, still an edge, still profitable in the long run. And then what you want to do, you don't just want to blindly bet every single positive EV play here. You want to compare the odds that we place to the rest of the sports books, which I already did. Minus 105 at BetMGM. Look at every other book, minus 131, minus 120. Some are close, like minus 110. Then we have like up to minus 138. If the bet you're placing is truly an outlier across every other sports book, or not every other, the majority of sports books, that's a good sign. And this one is, this Brooke Lopez one is. So this is why we are betting this play. It's a mathematically profitable play that's an outlier to the majority of sports books. So play number one, Brooke Lopez over 21.5 points. Promise I won't talk that much on future picks, but just wanted to explain the math behind positive EV betting before getting into the picks. So play number two, Jalen Green over 4.5 rebounds. So this play, again, it's bolded. It's got the blue rectangle outline around it. It is priced at plus 115 at PointsBet and Bet Rivers. And again, so the OddsJam perfect line, the true line, prices this at plus 113. So you definitely want to make sure that you note the gap between the two numbers. But the most important thing is comparing the odds of the bet you are placing to the rest of the sports books. So plus 115 is the bet that we are placing. Let's look at every other sports book and where they price it. FanDuel is the only one that's kind of close, 9 cents lower at plus 106. And you can ignore Underdog Fantasy and Prize Picks because they are daily fantasy sports companies, so they have the same implied odds for every single play. That's why you see minus 137 on both sides. But look at every major sports book that prices odds individually. First, you want to look at the sharp ones. As I mentioned, Pinnacle is the sharpest sports book in the world, pricing it at minus 103. That's a good sign. Another sharp book, BetOnline at minus 101. That's a good sign. And then those two are the sharpest. And then DraftKings is another third one that's not quite as sharp as the previous two, but still that I like to use for player props specifically. Prices it at minus 105. So all three of the sharp sports books are in alignment, as is the rest of the betting market. So Bet Rivers and PointsBet have the same odds at plus 115. FanDuel has it as the only other sports book in plus money at plus 106. Every other book, the closest we see plus 100, which is just 50-50. Minus 106, minus 105, minus 101, minus 103. So we're still getting a really good price on plus 115 on these two sports books. So this is why this is play number two. Jalen Green over 4.5 rebounds. Next up, we are looking at Miles Turner under 24.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is at plus 100 odds at Bet Rivers. Again, bolded, blue rectangle around it. The OddsJam perfect line prices this at essentially minus 101, a little bit above that. And so this is a really easy play. When you're betting at plus 100 odds, it's really easy to compare the markets to see if you're getting a good price or not. The reason why, so plus 100 odds equals 50-50. If you place 1,000 bets at plus 100 odds and you win exactly 50% of your bets, you will have broken even. If you win the majority of your bets, you will have made money. If you lose the majority of your bets, you will have lost money. It's pretty simple. And with that knowledge, you can tell where the sportsbooks are pricing odds to see if they have the under as, or the bet that you're placing as the favorite outcome or not. In this case, we are taking the under. And what I mean by this, so let's look at Pinnacle. They have the under priced at minus 117, the over priced at minus 113. They have the under as the more expensive option, right? 117 versus 113. This number's higher. This is Pinnacle telling you that they think the under is the more likely scenario. So they're going to charge it a little bit more. They're going to juice it a little bit more, make it more expensive to buy. As does BetOnline, as does Caesars and BetMGM. So pretty much all the major sports books, as Ballybet, are saying that they think the under is the more likely scenario so that it'll hit the majority of the time, which we are getting at plus 100, which we know only needs to hit 50% of the time. So I love, plus 100 odds, I'm not saying you should bet more than any other odd number or number of odds, however you want to phrase that. But it's just really easy to tell if it's mathematically profitable or not compared to the rest of the sports books, because you could just easily tell, okay, what side does the sports book favor? If they're favoring the side you're betting, that's a good sign. Majority of them do. This is a good bet. Bet number 3, Miles Turner under 24.5 points, rebounds, assists. Next up, We are betting on DeAndre Hunter to go under 21.5 points, rebounds, assists as soon as this loads. OddsJam, perfect line, prices this at minus 107. Again, we're getting it 1 cent better at minus 106. Even the smaller gaps are valuable. And same logic here. Look at every other sports book. Ballybet is the only one that's kind of close at minus 115. We're ignoring Underdog and Prize Picks. Look at every other book. Pretty universally in the minus 120s, like Pinnacle, minus 125, like BetOnline, minus 123, like DraftKings, minus 125, and every other book in the minus 120s. So this is another example of a good bet. This is my fourth pick, and my fifth and final one is actually a play that I'm going to avoid. And the reason why, this minus 135 isn't really that big of an outlier compared to every other book. The bigger outlier here is Pinnacle. So when Pinnacle is the biggest outlier and the bet that you are placing is not, that's actually a sign of a play that's not a good enough outlier to take. So I'm just going to stick with the first four as my 4 player props for today, and that's going to be it. So if you're tailing these, comment and let me know. Other than that, I would appreciate it if you could like the video, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. That helps me out a ton. If you want to find me, you can on Twitter and TikTok at Jedi Modai, as you see on the screen here next to my beautiful face. And then if you want to follow my more betting specific account at Pickett, certifiable bet tracker, you can at OddsJam_Matt. But that's it. So enjoy the NBA slate tonight and have a good one.